What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin and we are in the Shed Studios today, and we will be talking about FSD v14.2. And I've been planning this video for quite some time, and now I really have to do it simply because 14.3.2 is queued up in the Cybertruck, and I got a lot of things to say before I update to that FSD. Now, some of you are probably going to jump on the comments and like, I've already gotten 14.3.2 weeks ago. Look, we can't all be like MKBHD where I'm testing the iPhone 28 for a week now, and here's my thoughts on it. So us regular people are just barely getting the updates down through the pipeline. But before I install and experience 14.3.2, I want to share with you my thoughts on up to 14.2.2.5. So in 14.2, Tesla has introduced FSD usage tracking, and people are just flexing like 100%, 8,000 miles driven. And I'm like scratching my head. How are you doing that? My Model Y Juniper, it says I drive about 70% of it with FSD, and I think I've driven over 6,000 miles on it. Now the Cybertruck is about 39%, and the reason for that is it's Abby's truck and she doesn't drive it on FSD often. So, but we'll get to that later. But I'm just a normal person like many of you all watching this video, doing normal routes. I cannot use FSD 100% of the time as much as I want to, because I am a believer of FSD now. You know, in previous videos, I'm like, I'll never use FSD. I love driving. I still love driving, but wow, what FSD can do is amazing. But so I'm going to be sharing with you my disengagement experience, and it covers both Model Y and Cybertruck. The Model Y serves more as pretty much all of Tesla vehicles except Cybertruck, because FSD on Cybertruck, man, it's just really a totally different experience. So let's get started. So part one, we're going to talk about my experience with both vehicles, hardware 4, and we're talking about it happening on both Cybertruck and Model Y. And let's see if you guys are experiencing the same thing. So back roads and preferred routes, I don't know if it ignores it. Maybe it just doesn't exist in the system. And I'm going to have some suggestions of how they can fix that. And what I mean by that is FSD tends to stick to major map roads, like the back alleys and stuff. Some of them show up on the map, but it disregards it, right? Like it's not an option of a route to take. So here's an example, right? I take my kids to school, and so at least the schools I drop them off to, there's more than one way to go to that school. FSD recognizes that, but those routes that it gives you as alternate routes are using major like streets, like big streets, not really major, but just big streets. One of those streets, you have to cut across the highway so it goes over the bridge. The problem with that is it gets so busy no matter where you are. Like the way that's designed is designed that way. There's just short distances between traffic signals. So it just, cars will just line up, pile up and everything, people getting on and off the highways and stuff. So that's not a good route to take. Fortunately, there is a route, an alternate route further up the road where it bypasses all that. There is no traffic signal or anything because it doesn't go over the highway, it goes under the highway. So it's just a pass through. You've probably seen that street in previous videos when I did the FSD and the Model X, where there's a huge dip that it ignores. This was like FSD V12. But that's the street, that's the back way that I would take to drop off my kids to school because it just cuts through the traffic. 98% of the time, it ignores that route. So it makes me take the two other routes of major streets or big streets that go through this bridge, because there's two exits on either side of where I'm at. So it'll either pick one or the two, but same results. Like it's backed up because that's just how it works. The little times it does give me access, then yeah, I will use FSD. But for the most part, I have to disengage because I want to take that alternate route. I'm sure many of you experience that same thing where there is this, it's not really a secret back way. If you're a local, you know about it, but FSD doesn't know about it. So that's one example. Another example is plazas. So plazas have many different driveways where you go in and out of. Again, it's going to take like the preferred major route. So does everybody else. It's just traffic. Some plazas we go to, there is a back way or a back entrance, and sometimes that route isn't really a street. It's a route. It's I don't know what you call it, but it always never takes it. It's displayed on the map, but it considers it as not a route until I disengage and I go in there. Then for whatever reason, all of a sudden it recognizes it. Like the lines would redraw where I'm at, and it's like, oh yeah, you could go this way. But next time I go to that plaza, it doesn't consider that route, even though historically it's taken that route, but off of FSD, not using FSD. It's disengaged. So is it because it don't remember because I'm not engaged in FSD? I don't know. Now I do have a dry erase board here, and unfortunately my dry erase markers are not cooperating with me. I don't even know if you can see it. I was gonna draw diagrams and stuff because you know me, spreadsheets and visualization, that's all me. But you know what? I'll probably just put up drawings or something to help me illustrate it. Some of you are probably gonna say, well, you could just turn on your turn signals and it will ignore its preferred route and will yes, I know that. I've done that. Here's the thing. If I'm going to end up using my brain and stop being a supervisor and now just be more engaged with it, because I'm pretty much just telling it, hey, do this, I might as well disengage FSD and do it myself. That's just me. You may not feel the same way, but I'm just like, you know what? This is a lot of effort. So I'm just going to disengage and I'm just going to do it. I'm just gonna do it. So I end up disengaging. Okay, so my next example, in Southern California, we have HOV lanes on the highways. And in some cases, exits are located, there's exits on the HOV lanes. For those who aren't familiar with HOV lanes are high occupancy vehicle, I think. So in some areas, if there's 2 or more passengers, sometimes 3 or more passengers, you're able to utilize that lane instead of the regular lanes. And during traffic hours or rush hour, it might be beneficial because there's less cars that can use that lane because many people drive by themselves. Southern California, it's no longer the case. Like everyone's on the HOV lane, so it's just as bad. But anyway, there are areas where there's exits, and this is the farthest left lane. There are exits on that lane. So you don't have to cut across all lanes to your right just to get on the off ramp and take your exits. FSD doesn't know that. Even though, again, it's on the map, it's going to direct you to the far, like you're all the way to the left, and it's going to take you all the way to the right just to exit, where it could just stay on the lane and exit yourself. So this is where I scratch my head, and I hope Tesla engineers are already working on it. But FSD is powered by AI, artificial intelligence. Everyone's hyping this up. You know, we're gonna be replaced, whatever, right? Okay, why can it not learn this route? And maybe 14.3.2 does that. I don't know. I haven't seen people talk about it, but you could like pop up maybe a window, a confirmation window, like, hey, it looks like you've gotten off the route that we've suggested. Do you want to save this route? Yes. And then that way, when you're in that GPS area, it remembers your preferred route and it will apply it rather than use the general route that it normally recommends or suggests or uses, right? I think that would be a way for them to do it. So if anyone watching agrees with me and think it's a great idea and you know a Tesla engineer, tap them on the shoulder like, hey, can you apply this to the next update? And it's not just it's happening recently, it's always been an inconvenience. And I've always wondered why they haven't done anything to it. They applied alternate routes. When they applied that, that one was actually pretty good because prior to alternate routes, it just picked it and you had no choice. Whereas with alternate routes, you can actually zoom out of the map and it gives you different routes to your destination. It even gives you an estimate time. So if a different route or an alternate route saves you more time, then you could choose that route, which leads me to silent rerouting. I think it's silent. So there's a setting, I think it's called online routing. It's on controls, navigation, online routing, where you can set an alternate route if it thinks you could save a specific amount of time. I believe the default's 10 minutes and that's where mine is set at. So I don't know if it's doing this silently, but it does do this, but not at 10 minutes. So here's what happens. I'm on FSD in the Model Y and I'm just, you know, chilling, whatever, relaxing, either listening to music or podcasts, whatever. And because of FSD, I no longer look at my screen. There's no reason to have me look at the screen anymore. I don't have to look at my speedometer. It knows what to do. I mean, from time to time I'll look, but it's less likely for me to look at the screen. So I'm just chilling, you know, it's doing its thing. Next thing you know, it changes lanes. And I'm like, scratching my, like, why? Okay, maybe there was a car behind me traveling faster and it's getting out the way. Maybe, I don't know. There has to be a reason. Then it changes another lane to the far right lane. And I'm like 10 miles away from my next exit. Like, why? Huh? Then I realize it's turning on the signal to exit. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what? And then I look at the screen. It picked an alternate route because it thinks that it would save me time. So then I have to disengage because I don't want to take the alternate route and get off the highway. It wants to take the streets. And I have a couple of examples for that. So when I zoom out and review what alternate route it's taking and it pops up the time save, sometimes it's plus 2 minutes if I do the alternate route. It's not even saving me time. It's taking me an additional 2 minutes. Sometimes it's a difference of -4. So I could save 4 minutes if I take the alternate route. That's not following the setting that I've put in there. And so here are some examples that I can share with you. So the first one, and this has happened twice recently, which now I'm not doing the alternate routes anymore. So I let it do the alternate route. I'm a bit curious. So in some parts of my route, there is a parallel street that rides along or just travels along next to the highway I'm on. I'm like, okay, we don't have to exit too far out. It's like 1 block away. Let's go try it out. All right, it's gonna save me like 4 minutes. Well, guess what? this particular part of the route, when you exit and you take the parallel street, it goes through a school zone. Have you been through a school zone when kids are being dropped off or picked up? It's much worse than stop and go traffic on the highways. It's much worse. And if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because everybody else thinks their kid is more important than every other kid there. So they think they own the road. They'll break all these laws, make U-turns. Oh, they'll just stop in the middle of the road because it's convenient for them to just drop off their kid there. Do you know why there's laws for things like that? Because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Your kid could get ran over. But, you know, there are some parents that are just like that. Or they don't want to go into the parking because they're probably running late themselves. So they just do that. They just do that. So if you're a police officer who has a quota, park at a school zone, you're going to meet your quota. You could get so many people tickets because people are breaking laws there left and right. And it worries me. Like, I bring my kids all the way into the school. For this is one of the big reasons, because people just don't know how to drive around school zones. I don't know. It's very dangerous. I'm digressing, but I just had to share that. It is a little pet peeve of mine. But anyway, so that adds even more to my route. So that 4-minute save may not even be a save at all. It may end up being the same. And the other thing too, I've been commuting for over 20 years and I've done so many different combinations of getting off the freeway or highway and taking the streets and doing all this. At the end of the day, it's probably less frustrating, less stress to me to just stay on the highway. I don't have to navigate around traffic lights, pedestrians, stop signs. I think you're more likely to get into an accident on the street than on the highway. So mentally, even if you don't have FSD, I think you're better off staying in the highway. And with FSD, you're still better off staying in the highway. Unless on the GPS, on the map, it says that there's a traffic or accident or a closure, then that's when I would really consider it. Or if that line is no longer red, but like maroon, like dark red, oh boy, you better find an alternate route for sure. But if it's like yellow, orange, or red, yeah, I'm staying on the highway. Now, I did mention it's silent rerouting, and I did mention that I don't look at my screen as often as I did before. Now, there are times that there is a little notification that pops up, and it probably does pop up, but because I don't look at the screen, I don't notice it. So maybe it is actually telling me like, hey, I'm going to reroute you, so we're going to change lanes. So it's probably not as silent as I think it is. On the Rivian, it's not silent. It actually will have a notification bubble or box, like and then it actually asks you, it'll confirm like, do you want to do this? And there's a little timer, and if you don't answer, it will just do it. So, and the only reason why I noticed it on the Rivian is because their universal hands-free is not as good as Tesla FSD yet. So even though I'm driving hands-free, I still look at my screen more often than I do when I'm driving FSD on my Tesla. So I notice those things. I don't know. Let me know what your experience is with that rerouting. Are you feeling that frustration too? Or do you think it's a convenience for you? At least in my area and in my routes, it's not deciding correctly. And maybe if it notices that I'm canceling and disengaging during these reroutes, it should learn that pattern and stop rerouting, or at least in that area. Again, it's one of those like location-based memory. I don't know, but I'm sure Tesla engineers would figure that out. But if they don't know about it, then they're not gonna, you know, do anything about it. Because I don't know how to reach out to these engineers. Or am I the only one experiencing these things? I don't know. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping they can add in the future, is like preferred routes and more stricter of following that 10-minute, you know, time saving thing, because it's not working. It's not working for me anyway. Now, this next part is Cybertruck only. This is what I experienced with the Cybertruck. I don't experience it with the Model Y Juniper. This is the one that frustrates me a lot on FSD, driving on the streets, residential area. I guess it's anywhere not on the freeway. It drives 5 to 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. It's so frustrating. Like, it's not because of weather, it's not because of road conditions, because it happens at any street, it happens at any time of the day, daylight or nighttime. It doesn't matter if it's raining, it does it. And it does it so often. Now, the easy fix is tap on the accelerator and increase your speed to match the speed limit. And it'll float around there. I usually go up maybe 3 miles above speed limit, and it'll hang around there for a few seconds. Then it starts to drop again. And then it lingers around speed limit. Then it starts to slow. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing, dude? And it recognizes the speed limit because it displays it on the screen. And it just, again, it's not road condition, it's not weather related or anything like that, because it happens all the time. Well, not all the time, most of the time, regardless of street, regardless of weather, all that. So it could be a software behavior thing. I don't know. And this is on standard driving profile. And sure, I could bump it up to hurry, but that's a bit too aggressive for me anyway. So I just leave it on standard, and standard should follow it. It's not on chill mode. I could understand if it's on chill, I could understand that, but it's on standard. Act standardly at unprotected intersections. So like T intersections, it's going to stop about 5 to 10 feet away from like the pedestrian line or that edge, right? And so when it stops like that, I can't look to my left to make an unprotected right turn. Yes, I still look, because remember, supervisor, I can't look. So it'll keep inching and inching forward, and then it does another stop. Then it checks to see if it's safe. Then it goes. So it's actually doing 2 stops at a stop sign because it stops too early. I don't know what it is. And I've talked to other Cybertruck owners, and yes, they have experienced this as well. I think someone had mentioned to me that this was fixed in not 14.3.2, but like right before that update, they actually fixed it. I never got that. I don't think I gotten that update. If I did, it still does it. It still does it. The reason why I don't like it is because if there's someone behind me, they're not expecting me to stop that early. Or they're going to be upset that why is this idiot stopping twice at a stop sign? So another disengagement right there. I have to take it off FSD, or I got to keep tapping that accelerator. And it's just like, why bother? Why bother using FSD here? The next one, actually, people have reported, and this one, I can see why it's happening, and there's times that it can be a little bit dangerous, and it happens on highways at fast speeds. Tire marks, it thinks it's an obstacle or debris, and it will like merge. It will swerve out of the way. I've noticed it on the Model Y doing it, but the Cybertruck does it far more frequently. And so many times it's a controlled swerve. I mean, I guess they're all controlled. So it's like just a light swerve. It almost makes me think like it's trying to change lane, but it doesn't. But there are times that it's a hard swerve, and I would just be surprised. Because again, I'm supervisor, #1 FSD supervisor, employee of the month, right? I'm like, what did you swerve? There was nothing there in front of me. There wasn't. So when I looked in the mirrors and stuff, I could see the dark lines and I'm like, oh, those tire marks and stuff. It thinks it's debris or obstacles. So there has been people who have reported it. And according to my notes, like there is some kind of investigation with the NHTSA and all that. So I'll have all these links in the video description and stuff. But engineers have acknowledged it, and there's an improved offsetting for road debris, but I don't know. I don't recall seeing that. Let me know if you experienced that as well. It doesn't lead to a disengagement of FSD, but it's just one of those things that just catches me off guard. So back to that 100% crowd, I do not understand how y'all are driving at 100% with thousands of miles recorded. Are you just driving up and down one empty street for weeks just to accumulate those many miles? You know, are you like in the Midwest in a cornfield somewhere? You know, like how are you doing it? Where are you driving? Am I the only idiot that drives this way? Like, I've given you real world examples, right? Like, do you 100% people don't have kids that you don't have to take them to school? You know, do you all don't commute during the day? You commute at night, and so there's less things that it needs to consider. So it's just a straight through, you know, 100%, 100%, 8,000 miles driven, blah, 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 blah. So I just need to know, is this a me thing? Like it only happens to me? Those who have high 90 something percent, do you not get those, like, I don't know. Or is it that you just prefer to use the preferred routes it picks, even though it takes you to more traffic areas? Because I don't like that. Irks me, man. Like, I spent too much time in traffic already. If I could find a different route, especially on the weekends when I have to go run errands because it still gets traffic, I know the back way. I love the back door. Like I know the back way to certain areas where there's no traffic. So I would end up disengaging and just taking that route. So that prevents me from getting 100%. And I think 70% at over 6,000 miles in the Model Y is pretty good. I'm getting my money's worth. And I'm glad that Tesla starts providing these stats, because if I used it less, then I would have to reconsider why I would pay $99 a month. But at 71% of the time I'm using it, man, it's worth, for me, it's worth the extra $100 of expense monthly because I do use it a lot. For the Cybertruck, right now we have the 1 year free that they did give us last year that many Cybertruck owners received, and that's expiring in June. And I don't know if I'm going to continue to subscribe because Abby doesn't use it. Here's the thing that surprised me. She actually told me that she did start using FSD. She doesn't use it a lot, and there's things that happen to her when she's using it that she still doesn't trust it enough to use it more. But the biggest surprise to me is she uses it. She hated it before, you know, more than I did before. But she's coming around to it, and but it's like 39% on the Cybertruck. I do have points to spend thanks to you all who's using my referral code, so I may just continue to use it because when I drive the Cybertruck, I use it. So, and that's usually our road trip car or the Rivian. So FSD on road trips, great. And I don't commute with it, so I don't use FSD. I only use it to run errands. And with all that stuff I described to you, it happens a lot on the weekends. So sometimes, maybe half the time, I don't use FSD because for those reasons. So recently of FSD V14 to hardware 3 owners, this is probably the last hurrah for hardware 3 owners. Probably the last time you'll get updates related to FSD. So light is defined as compressed neural net size, not stripped of features, aims to parity with hardware for supervised driving. So you get start from park, you get improved emergency vehicle, construction zone detection. Let me tell you about that real quick. This thing is amazing when there's construction, when there's road closures. Like, it just doesn't stall there. It automatically, that's where the redirection, the alternate route kicks in, and it's perfect. I will say it with my experience. It's perfect. When there's road closures due to construction, that's not on the GPS because that's like a temporary thing. It knows it. Oh, mind blown, right? Man, good job on that, Tesla. So hardware 3 will not ever get unsupervised FSD or robo-taxi. The hardware limit is 1/8 the memory bandwidth of hardware 4. Now, speaking of which, shout out to David who watches the videos. He sent me a message on Instagram and was wondering what my opinion was, because currently he has a hardware 4 Model Y. I think it's a Juniper. And they're looking at another Tesla, a used one. And he was wondering, is it worth saving the money to just get hardware 3 versus paying more for a hardware 4 Tesla? In my opinion, what I told him was, if you use FSD enough, I say it's worth paying the extra money for hardware 4, because not only do you get the current features, but you continue to get additional features. Now, if the price difference is really substantial, I guess if you're happy with hardware 3 capabilities, and we don't even know when FSD V14 Lite's gonna come out, then save the extra money. If that price difference is kind of like, I'm not gonna keep this car that long, so I'd rather save that money now, and I'll later pick up a hardware 4 and trade this one in, then I would go with a hardware 3. But if you plan to keep this car for a longer period of time, I think spending the extra money now up front might be a better thing, because if you plan to keep it longer, at least the support is also there for a longer period. Just my opinion on that. Let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Help David with your opinions on that, and he'll be reading the comments as well. But thank you for that message, David, and hopefully that helped you a little bit, or did it make the decision harder. So a few more things before I go. The Rivian R1S has received its registration renewal. I'll just put it up here on the screen. And then the other thing I want to mention to you all, the brand new SherwinM.com, redesigned SherwinM.com is now live, and I'm starting to create new workflows to smooth things out and help me with content creation and everything. What you're gonna find over there are pretty much the blog versions of these videos, and on top of that there'll be additional blog posts there that I didn't turn into videos, because making videos is just, it's a big process. And so if it's just something little that I could knock out quick, I'll end up just posting a blog there. And so the mailing list is for a newsletter where I can send you things directly into your inbox, because one of the things that I'm just really struggling with, at least for YouTube, is notifications of new content. I follow many people, and it does a really poor job at letting me know if there's new content for people that I like to watch. Shout out to Cobra. I watch Cobra. Cobra and I, like, we're friends, and we watch each other's videos. If you haven't seen the video of his Model S, his great deal on that Model S, his little project car, man, you gotta watch that. That's amazing, right? Like, what the deal? $12,000 for a is it a 2019? And that video, he gave me a shout out, like, I'm doing this Sherwin style.
So I'm here with my 2019 Tesla Model S. Only paid $12,000 for it. I'm gonna do this. This is the Sherwin video.
And I'm like, dude, if you're doing it my way, you need spreadsheets. But check out that video. But anyway, like, that video didn't even come through until like 2 or 3 days later. And I'm like, I hit the bell icon and it doesn't do its job. Maybe it's doing it, but I get so many notifications that it just gets buried. So that's why I've created my blog as a side-to-side thing, so that if you do miss it, we have a mailing list. You can get that information straight into your inbox, and you could either read the blog post or check out the video, or if there's a blog post with no video, then you see the blog post on the website. There's also a calendar page there, so for those who are always asking when's the next meetup or whatever, I put all that stuff in there rather than turning on the camera and you guys waiting towards the end for new events or whatever. You could go straight there. I try to update it every time people send me events and stuff. I put it on there, so just go check that out. Now, if you are having an event and you want me to put it on the calendar, do let me know. There's a contact form there. Send me the email, send me the link to the source, and I will put it up there. That's the other thing too. You can send me an email if you guys don't have a YouTube account, or you don't want to post a comment on the YouTube, or you don't have any other social media accounts or whatever. There's a contact form there. You can send me an email there as well. And then for those who are wondering about like coupon codes or whatever, I have all that there. All of that there. You don't have to look at the video description if you don't want to. It's all there. I try to update it as much as possible. It's actually easier for me to update that website than recording a video, editing it, and just giving you updates. I mean, I still do that, but this is more of a quicker way for me to do things. So it's probably more up to date than me doing videos, because again, it's just more steps to do these videos. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your quirks are on your FSD. If you haven't subscribed to FSD, what is the reason you're not subscribed? I'm curious. I'm curious. I am a believer. I'm a believer now. I don't fully trust it, but I'm willing to drop $100 a month. And it's interesting to me. It's really interesting and where things are headed. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.